Some good news for drivers. Gas prices have fallen 2 years in a row, dropping nearly 12 cents last year. The trend is expected to continue in 2025 as President-elect Trump prepares to take office later this month. The national average price for regular gas is projected to fall to $3.22 per gallon this year. That's down 11 cents from 2024 and way below 2022's record high of more than $5 per gallon. Trump is vowing to unleash American energy through deregulation in the industry and faster permitting, but critics warn his threat to impose a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico could cause prices to spike. Joining me now is GasBuddy head of petroleum analysis, Patrick de Haan. Patrick, great to see you and Happy New Year. Talk to me about where you see this going. I look at those tariffs as a threat right now. Until they become something real, I'm not that worried about them. And I'm looking at Trump and his policies and saying oil prices and gas prices are coming down.
Yeah, good morning, Jackie, and Happy New Year to you as well. That's primarily how I would view those as well, potentially not to be implemented because they would have a drastic potential impact. Canada is the #1 source of imported crude oil into the United States, sending us roughly 4 million barrels of oil every single day. So that potential tariff is a wild card in our forecast. Having said that, as you mentioned, we're expecting another year of declining prices with the yearly national average to drop about 11 cents, saving the average American household about $100. Now, keep in mind, there still will be the seasonal ups and downs. Gas prices today, starting the year at a low point, they will likely go up in the spring and summer. There's no denying that. That happens because Americans drive more. We make the transition to summer gasoline. But by the end of the year, the end of 2025, we'll likely see the national average back below the $3 mark.
Yeah, we always see that peak of the summer driving season at July 4th. People expect it. But I want to drill down on Canada for a moment, because if we're producing more oil here, getting more out of the ground because of deregulation and Trump just being more friendly to the industry in general, the Canadian 4 million barrels, that's a different grade oil. We still need that.
Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. Keep in mind that the U.S. oil production boom is still fairly young, 15 to 20 years old since we really started ramping up our own U.S. oil production. Keep in mind, refineries have been set up decades and decades ago. A statistic that many Americans have heard is we haven't built a new refinery in so long. So keep in mind, existing refineries have been set up for the process that existed when they were built 50, 60, 70 years ago. And the flow of oil back in the 50s started to emerge that Canada was a large supplier of crude oil. So a lot of the pipelines that have built, a lot of the refineries that have been built were built in the era of Canadian energy. And that's why it would be so difficult to separate us from that flow of Canadian oil, is because that's been the status quo for decades.
I am so glad that you brought up the refineries, because we've had not enough refineries for many, many years. This has been an ongoing problem. I haven't heard the president say anything about new projects or working with companies to try to expand refining capacity. At the same time, we're talking about the Keystone XL pipeline and reviving that. I mean, the pipelines are great to get oil moving around, but you need to be able to refine it.
Yeah, exactly right. You need the infrastructure, whether it's to ship that oil to a refinery or refinery itself. The infrastructure has to be built. You talk about making a transition to EVs as well. That infrastructure needs to be built. The infrastructure is the key to delivering energy to the market. And so absolutely, to your point, areas like Arizona that have seen a population boom are suffering from a lack of pipeline capacity. And that's why prices in Arizona last year and the year before were peaking well over $5 and close to $6 a gallon. That's why California prices are perennially high, is because of lack of refineries. California now down to just 9 refineries. And regulation and rules are going to chase away more refineries in California in the years ahead. So to your point, refining capacity is a big part of the forecast. Thankfully, while the U.S. has not seen an increase in refining capacity in a significant way over the last 5 or 10 years, the global stage has seen that. China has seen a big increase, and the Middle East also coming to our aid in terms of refining capacity.
All great points. My thanks to Patrick de Haan. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Thanks, Jackie. You too.